Hi, this is Matthew from Homestyle Customs. I quickly wanted to take you through our newest product, which is our collection of stands. So we made 3 different versions. We have one for phones, one for tablets, and one for cookbooks. We introduced 3 different pattern backgrounds. This is the wave. We also have a leaf version and a floral version as well. And we also have 2 different styles of monograms, one which is a cutout version and the other one which is an engraved version. And we wanted to make these as decorative as possible. So they serve both as a piece of home decor when they're not in use, but they also have the functionality of actually holding a phone for the purpose of standing it up. So there's 3 components to this. There's the back, there's the front plate, and then there's the connection piece. So I'm just going to quickly show you how it goes together. So you basically take your connection piece, slide it through the center, and then the front plate just sits on the front there, okay? So the front plate gives you an option to add another personalization to it. So here I have like the monogram with the D and then my last name. So there's tons of different variations you could do. The front plate can be optional, and there is a connection piece that comes along that doesn't have the holes, so it's just pretty straightforward. It's just 2 pieces instead of the 3. And then also it has the hole for the cord that could slide out the back and everything. So I'm going to quickly take you through a tutorial using different softwares on how to personalize these, and also how to adjust this slit in the backing to fit the thickness of your wood. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. First thing we're going to do is you should take your caliper tools and just take a quick measurement of your wood for reference. Okay, so that's the wood I'm using there. So it says 4.3 millimeters. Okay, so then when we jump on the computer, I could show you exactly how to adjust the size to the thickness of your material, and then we could actually build one together and see how it comes out. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the folder, and you're going to see the 3 different stands that are included, which is the book stand, phone stand, and tablet stand. For this tutorial, we're going to just make a phone stand quickly here. So click on phone stand, and we're going to see all the different versions included, okay? So we'll have the cut monogram version, and I'm just going to show you quickly what that looks like. So it's a cutout letter in the center, okay? And that's under Cutout Monogram, and you're going to see the 3 different styles. So we have 3 different patterns. This is the wave pattern. First one we looked at was the kind of like the leaf pattern, and the 3rd design is going to be the floral pattern. So that's Cutout Monogram. Then we're going to have the Engraved Monograms, which is very similar. It's just the center monogram area is full, and it's going to have a nice little monogram that matches the pattern in the background, okay? So that one is the leaf one, and then you're going to have the exact same ones in this. So this is the wave version, and then we'll have the floral version here, okay? And each one of these also has a blank version where you could add your own monogram or your own design in the center, okay? So there's lots of ability to customize, okay? So let's go ahead, and we're gonna, oh, and then there's also the non-monogram version as well, which is basically just the pattern on the background, and all 3 are there, okay? The other parts in this folder here are the front pieces, but we'll get into that. And then we also have the connection pieces, which are the components that connect the top plate and the backer to make it stand up. So we're going to look at the Cutout Monogram version. We'll make one of these. We'll just choose design 1. Let's do the letter E. So once we open that, we're going to see the design here. You'll notice that the blue line is, so the way I set up my files is the blue line is also a cut. So these are both cut colors, but I cut the black first, and then blue is always the last cut, which is the release cut. And if you don't have this, Glowforge tends to cut the outside first, And if it does that, then if you have different types of wood that are kind of bowed or warped a bit, the middle part can drop, and then different things will become unaligned when it cuts it out. So if you cut out the middle first and then the outside, everything will stay perfect. So that's how I always work. So with this now, all we're going to have to do is change this little slot size here. Okay? So in Illustrator, you hit the direct selection tool. All you got to do is click on that box, and then you're going to see up here the height measurement of this box. Okay? I work in millimeters. You might work in inches. I do use millimeters because I think it's easier to calculate. It's a little bit more precise. They're smaller numbers. So give me a sec. Let me just convert this to millimeters. And you could do the same. So what you want to do is you want to click on Properties. It was already open. So hit Properties, and you'll see it come up here. Okay. What you want to do is you want to just change it from inches to millimeters. Okay. You can use inches, and I'll give you the conversion for it to make it the correct size for your wood. So what you want to do is, with this direct selection tool, click that little slot, and if you remember on the example when I used the caliper tools to measure, the measurement was 4.3 millimeters. Okay, so if you make this 4.3 millimeters, it'll adjust it to that size, but when it cuts, it's going to be a little loose because there's a thing called kerfing. And what that means is if it's exactly 4.3 millimeters, the laser is going to cut along that blue line, and it's going to remove a little bit of material from both ends of that line. Just because it removes material, it's not going to stay perfectly on that line. So it's going to eat away some of the material around that line. Okay, and the same goes for if you're using a saw. Just think of the width of a saw blade. The width of the saw blade is going to come out of the wood, right? So you're losing a bit of material on both sides of that line. Okay, so we want to compensate. So to compensate, I just use 1.1 millimeters. So we're going to make that 0.2 millimeters, and it's going to adjust it to that size. Okay, and that's all you have to do. And once you have, like, if you're using a consistent material at all times, like I always use 1/4 inch maple from Home Depot. I cut down the 4x8 boards, and that's the size of the material majority of the time. Like, I would recommend always measuring it because wood can be very inconsistent. So measure your material, and that's if you want to get these like nice and tight together. If you don't want to make them tight, you don't have to. Like, you could use glue to hold them together, but I like to do it this way, and that's why I'm showing you this way. So once you do that, all you got to do is you go save as, and you're saving it as an SVG file, okay? And you could just save that into your work folder, okay? So now that that's done, we could go ahead and print that piece. Now the next part is we need the connection piece. So these ones are already sized for you. So you could see that the 4.22, I would drag that into Glowforge along with my new file I just created. And then I would also choose a front plate to use. Okay. So you'll see front piece here. Okay. So we use design 1. So there's 2 options for design 1. You could just do this version, which is all cut, or you could use this version, which has an area for engraving on it. So you could add a name. So if you wanted, you could have, and we'll do this one. Let's use that for an example. So let's open that one up, and we have E on the backer, so an E monogram. So let's just add some text to this, and let's do Eldridge, E-L-D-R-I. Eldridge is the last name. And this is where your creativity comes into play. You could use any type of font you want. So choose something that you like. I'm just going to pick script. font. Just size that up, drop it in the middle, and play with it. You could do pretty much anything. You could put like company logos, any different objects and stuff like that to make it look, truly unique. Once you have the text there, all you're going to do is you're going to go to type at the top and you're going to create outlines. So now that that's outlines, I'm using this script and it kind of separates it so you can see that it overlaps. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the Pathfinder tool and I'm just going to unite that all together. Okay, so now it's all one object. Okay, now I'm just going to choose a color. Oops. And I always use green for engrave. You could use whatever color you like. This is just my the color combinations I use, and I like being consistent. So again, just save that. Just save it on the desktop for now. And we're going to go ahead and print that along with, we're going to print this along with the backer. And then we're also going to print it with that connection piece. Okay, so we're going to print the 3 files at once. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, we're back. We just cut out the 3 pieces on the Glowforge. So that's the back there, and that has the adjusted slot size. So we cut this at 4.2 millimeters, even though the thickness of our wood when we used the caliper was 4.3. So we took the kerfing into account and we removed 0.1 millimeters from the overall size of that slot, okay, the height. If you're using inches, I believe it's 0.004 inches would be the equivalent to 0.1 millimeters. Okay, so now we take the connection piece and the backing, and we can just slide that right into the slot. And you can see how tight it is. So we got the kerfing right on it. And that doesn't require any glue now. And then the front piece. One more thing, this connection piece here, I also made a version without the holes, and it's a little bit more refined to give it more of a softer edge, a little bit more concave, just in case you wanted to have it like that without the front plate. Okay, I find the front plate is great for the book one, the iPad one. It works if you have a book on there like a cookbook and you're trying to keep the page open. It kind of traps it. So you can see how tight that fits. Front plate also gives you another area where you could customize it, make it that much more unique. So there you go, that's the phone stand. And the cookbook or the book stand and the tablet stand would work the exact same way. It's just on a larger scale. So there you go. I hope you like the new product.